The word persona comes from the Latin word that says mask. Speaking of mask, this is Tom Ripley. In this photo, he looks like a normal guy, right? He's got a nice smile, looks well put together with the glasses and the tie. Now, what if I told you this was all a mask? Tom is a rising con artist from Manhattan. Starting from the small lie that he's a Princeton graduate, Tom becomes hired by Mr. Greenleaf, Dickie's dad, to bring Dickie back home to the States. When Tom befriends Dickie Greenleaf, a wealthy Princeton graduate who lives a lavish lifestyle in Italy, he admires to become like him. Except he literally tries to become Dickie. Anthony Minghell's 1999 film The Talented Mr. Ripley unfolds the consequences of developing a persona and how there is a danger in losing oneself when an individual hides their true identity. Take note of the year of the film, 1999. During the time of the film, social relations were considered extremely important, which surfaces to this day. Tom Ripley's character reflects a more complicated notion that negatively applies to today's society, illustrating how persona comes into play as a strategy for saving face in situations, even with the stakes of losing your true self. My thesis argues, The Talented Mr. Ripley serves as an example of how constructing an ingenuine persona leads to an unrecoverable destruction of the authentic self and relationships with others. All of Tom's differing relationships elucidate his desperate need to maintain his persona, regardless of the unfortunate circumstances that occur in the process. The first noteworthy relationship Tom forms is with Dickie. Because Tom had purposeful intentions to bring Dickie back to the States, he put on a persona that would initially be quote-unquote accepted by Dickie according to his standards. However, the jealousy and inferiority Tom feels towards Dickie on the inner side quickly replaces envy, gradually leading to the worst possible result, murder. Tom's hopes of becoming a fraud version of Dickie with his persona demonstrates his reckless ambition, yet failure to simply just be himself in fear that he won't achieve the upper-class luxury life. Moving on, Tom's relationship with Jazz delineates the hierarchical division Tom wishes to ignore but cannot. Jazz becomes the bond that ingenuously connects Dickie with Tom. However, the real Tom actually prefers and truly enjoys classical music, reinforcing that his persona strongly contradicts his true identity. There's a moment when Tom visits a jazz club along with Dickie, and he tries to assimilate to jazz by awkwardly singing along offbeat. Tom feels uncomfortable with the concept of jazz. He meticulously studies the performer's reaction, attempting to match the energy, and only singing along to Americanized words like Americano. On the other hand, Dickie plays freely, improvising with a saxophone and enjoying the moment, easily singing along to the Italian lyrics. Indeed, Minghella demonstrates how hierarchy is inevitable by drawing a clear line establishing how interests differ between social classes. In the research article Alternative Music, Kristen Paluku argues that, quote, to Tom Ripley, jazz represents anti-establishment inclinations, and Ripley very much wants to be a part of the establishment, end quote. The irony here lies in how jazz symbolizes as a form of authentic self-expression and rebellion against traditional establishment values for the wealthy, yet for Tom, who comes from a lower class, it supplies as a camouflage of his true identity in order to feel validated for approval. Ultimately, Tom fails to understand the true meaning jazz carries and only cares about using it as an indicator for his persona to prove to Dickie that he belongs with him and his type of people. Next is Tom's relationship to Peter. It might have looked authentic on the surface. However, Peter isn't in love with Tom's real self, but rather the version of Tom's persona based on past interactions the two shared. At one point in the plot, Tom comes across a dangerous situation of his persona at risk of being exposed. To avoid this, Tom ends up also murdering Peter. Before doing so, Tom hints that he is not the person Peter thinks he is. He tells Peter,
I always thought it would be better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody.
During the scene, Tom's glasses are off, his necktie is loosened, and tears form in his eyes while speaking, indicating the vulnerability Tom exposes in a setting with Peter. That being said, Peter's loyalty makes Tom more panicked, as he cannot afford to lose the persona he built up to this point. By murdering Peter and choosing himself over an honest connection, Tom exemplifies the unsustainable result his constructed persona brings. Talented Mr. Ripley functions as a powerful warning illustrating how assembling a fake persona leads to unfortunate aftermath. Similarly, this is applicable in today's society where the digital age takes over. Individuals tend to portray only their best moments on social media for others. And as much as I hate to admit, sometimes I also fall into this trap. This creates a misleading perspective of someone not being able to form true connections. So, the moral of the story is the more we obsess over perfecting our persona, the more we risk erasing the self beneath it. Thank you.